How can the lab profile reduce the common performance difficulties normally encountered by managers, headhunters, recruiters, and employment agents? Let me tell you about some of the common pain points which are encountered by managers and headhunters and recruiters and recruitment agents and executive search professionals as they work to find the right person for critical tasks. And let me also tell you about the solutions they have available when they learn and use the lab profile as one of their primary operational tools to help them find and hire exactly the right person. The lab profile is a linguistic interview technique which gets people to reveal what they can do, what they cannot do, and what motivates them. The lab profile is a series of precise questions, and a person's responses to each question reveals how this person's brain normally functions. Some people are better at details, and others are better at the big picture. Some people are better at following procedures, and others are better at creating procedures. The lab profile collects this kind of practical information about how each person's brain functions. So when top performers at a specific task are interviewed, the lab profile patterns these top performers have in common for that task are the patterns which newly recruited and newly hired people for that task should have. Okay, the following slides in red print highlight the kinds of difficulties managers and recruiters encounter when searching for new employees. Understanding candidate motivations. Recruiters often struggle to identify the true motivations of candidates, which can lead to mismatches between candidates and assignments. The lab profile trained recruiter starts by profiling existing top performers at that target position in the client organization. So the recruiter already has a profile of how the successful candidate needs to function. This profile includes what motivates these top performers, as well as how they operate on the 16 scales of performance at that targeted position. Understanding candidate motivations. Recruiters often struggle to discern the true motivations of candidates, which can lead to mismatches between candidates and performance. The lab profile trained recruiter starts by profiling existing top performers of the recruitment target position in the client organization. So the recruiter already has a profile of how the successful candidate needs to function. This profile includes what motivates these top performers, as well as how they functionally operate on 16 scales of performance at that target position. Communication challenges. Understanding and interpreting a candidate's communication style can be challenging, making it harder to effectively engage with and assess candidates. The lab profile trained recruiter gives managers of the target position detailed information about what motivates and what unmotivates the candidates, as well as their existing employees. This also includes precise information about how to successfully communicate with those candidates and the existing employees. Identifying behavior patterns. Recruiters may find it difficult to identify consistent behavior patterns of candidates, which is crucial for predicting performance, as well as the fit within the role and within that company's culture. The lab profile trained recruiter gives managers of the target position detailed information about what the candidate, as well as their own existing well-performing employees, can do and cannot do. Time constraints. The recruitment process can be time-consuming, from sourcing candidates to conducting interviews and negotiating offers. Limited time can hinder recruiters' ability to thoroughly evaluate candidates and meet client deadlines. Because the lab profile is linguistic in nature, the lab profile trained recruiter can quickly determine if the candidate has those targeted patterns of the existing top performers within their organization, so they quickly know if the candidate fits the target profile. High turnover rates. Placing candidates who are not the right fit for a role can lead to high turnover rates, which not only impacts client satisfaction but also requires additional resources to fill the vacancies. The lab profile trained recruiter can quickly determine if the candidate has the targeted lab profile performance patterns of the existing top performers within their organization. does the candidate fit the target profile? And this relates to reduced turnover because the lab profile patterns of the top performers include the patterns of how long the person is comfortable at task. How long will they stay? Client expectations. Meeting client expectations regarding candidate quality, cultural fit, and timeliness can be challenging, especially when faced with a competitive job market and limited candidate pool. The lab profile trained recruiter is able to use aspects of the target lab profile to attract candidates who are already a match for that target profile. Each of the patterns of the lab profile have language which motivates those who have those patterns. Of course, each specific search for candidates will have its own unique challenges, but it's easier when the recruiter is capable of attracting candidates who already match the inherent capabilities of existing top performers. Market competition. In a competitive recruitment landscape, recruiters must differentiate themselves from competitors to attract both clients and candidates. The lab profile trained recruiter will already be able to communicate deeply and effectively with each of those specific candidates who match the target profile because they already know what makes each candidate tick. Candidate sourcing challenges. Finding qualified candidates, especially for specialized or niche roles, can be a significant challenge requiring extensive networking and sourcing efforts. The lab profile trained recruiter will know both the candidates and the tasks lab profile patterns so they can quickly recognize the candidate's fit for the task or not. They will know how to determine the patterns of the candidate so they can quickly recognize the candidate's fit. Candidate screening and assessment. Evaluating candidate skills, experience, and fit for a role requires thorough screening and assessment processes, which can be time-consuming and subjective. The lab profile trained recruiter will be able to recognize which candidates match the profile, as well as which ones have the needed technical skill, experience, and capability. Evolving industry trends and technology. Keeping up with rapidly evolving industry trends, technologies, and recruitment strategies can be daunting, requiring continuous learning and adaptation. The lab profile trained recruiter will be able to recognize if the candidate's inherent capabilities match up with the client's needed skills and experience. Understanding and addressing these pain points are critical for recruiters to optimize their recruitment processes, improve candidate placements, and enhance client satisfaction. The lab profile trained recruiter will have a broad set of skills which lets them cut through the BS to quickly recognize the candidate's match for the client's need or not. The lab profile training is an online video course which teaches managers and recruiters exactly how to recognize and understand what each person can do and cannot do, as well as how to motivate them. So you can always put the right person in the right task and motivate them for top performance. The details of this course are in this video file's description.